Ashok.
Jai Baba Ravi.
Avatar Meher Baba ki jai. Let's start with the three couplets for this morning before we get into the reading. Ashok ji, you want to read?
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Avatar Meher Baba ki Jai. Three of Meher Baba's favorite couplets of Hafiz, a mystical Persian poet. Befitting a fortunate slave, carry out every command of the master without any question of why and what. About what you hear from the master, never say it is wrong, because, my dear, the fault lies in your own incapacity to understand him. I am slave of the master who has released me from ignorance. Whatever my master does is of the highest benefit to all concerned. Hafiz. Over to you, Karthik. Thank you.
Avatar Meher Baba ki jai. Thank you so much. Let's get into the reading directly. So we are in volume 3 and rather, sorry, volume 4. And we stopped at page 24 and we start with the section titled In a Rowboat Under the Limitless Blue. So if anybody wants to read, they can start right away. Mamaji, you want to read for some time?
Yes.
Okay, please.
Avatar Meher Baba
Meher
ki
Baba
jai.
ki jai.
In a rowboat under the limitless blue, after a ride of 2 or 3 miles, we entered the outskirts of Rishikesh. Here, Baba visited a monk who was residing on the second story of a house. He was seated on a big bed and was in a delightful mood. He was practically naked except for a loose towel wrapped around his waist. The complexion of his body and the gleam in his eye were exceptional. Intense longing for God, the beloved disciples all over all other desires. Intense longing for God, the beloved disciples all other desires from the hearts of these of the mass. And so inner ecstasy and beauty become manifest in their demeanor and are visible in their eyes. With the end of the old life phase, Baba did not mind having his Mandali or others nearby him while offering help to the poor or when contacting Mas. At the end of this particular contact, in contrast with the earlier seriousness that we noticed about him, we found Baba to be in a happy, jovial mood. On the way to Lakshman Jula, Baba's car stopped with his Baidul leading the way. Baba began slowly descending a narrow footpath going through the forest towards the river bank. At the end, we reached a small ashram. On enquiry, it was learned that the advanced soul staying there, whom Baba wished to contact, had closeted himself in a room for a certain period, as he wished to remain secluded from others. The Mandle requested the people serving the stage to convey a message to their master that a party from Bombay had especially come for his darshan, but it was of no avail. Baba's identity was not disclosed. Then it was suggested that one of the persons, Baba, should be allowed to offer his homage at the threshold of the room within which the sage, I think, named Ramakrishna, was living. But even this proposal was not acceptable to the sage. What a funny situation. The ancient one in person of waiting outside to see the sage, and the sage closeted inside seeking the Lord through meditation. What a tragedy for the seeker. But what a comedy for the thought, the ancient one. In the end, Baba decided to go back to the car. It was not easy for Baba to walk up the steep path. Once he sat on a big stone and was gathered as we gathered around him, we saw a look of displeasure on his face. He gestured, Hindus respect Muslims, Muslims love their master. I gathered that Baba's remark was in relation to the attitude of the devotees of the sage. After bowing down to some other mendicant, Baba returned to Shanti Kuti. After lunch, we had a short rest, and then Baba again wished to continue his work, this time on the other bank of the Ganges. Baba's car and our jeep were parked on the shoulder of the road. He instructed one or two of us to stay near the vehicle. The rest he instructed the rest with Baba started walking towards the Ganges to a place where there was a free foodie rowboat service for pilgrims going back and forth from one bank to the other. When we reached there, we found a small hoodie with a few passengers, which almost seemed to be waiting for Baba's arrival. The rowboat had 5 or 6 planks for people to sit on. I stepped into it and reached the end part of the hoodie, which could hardly accommodate 2 people. Others started getting in, and Baba stepping high over the planks, came and sat right next to me. I felt delightfully embarrassed. I thought of moving to some other place, but that was not possible. However, I did contract my body to keep as much room between us as possible. It was the first time in my life that I sat so close to Baba, and that feeling is indescribable. As the boatman began to row, I looked in different directions at the sky so that my being there would not in any way interfere with Baba's work. When we were in midstream, though the water was very cold, I tried with my fingers to reach the Ganges flowing by. About that time, Baba patted me on my right shoulder. A very exciting moment indeed. I looked at Baba and he pointed his index finger in the direction of a house far away on the other shore. Someone interpreted just that gesture as meaning Baba had been staying there in Swargashram in Rani Singhai's bungalow for some months in 1942 with a big group of Easterners and Westerners. It was during this period that the rumor about the liquor for the use of Baba's mandli was fabricated with ulterior motives. In fact, this previous patting from Baba reverberated through my entire being. To me, that delicate touch of Baba's fingers on my shoulder under the limitless blue while sailing with him on the holy Ganges was a profound gesture revealing his intimacy with me. I do not recall what Baba did when we reached the other bank, except that we visited Gita Bhavan, a place which had all the lines of the Bhagavad Gita written in bold letters in different parts of the building,
So
exacting
if I can pause you for a minute. So we read about the story and the letter about the liquor doing the rounds in Rishikesh. And Kama shared a few links, a few pages from Lord Meher. I hope you all read that correlates to exactly the same event. And there, the master, the guru that is being referred to is mentioned as Swami Shivananda. So I hope you all took a look at that.
exacting yet compassionate companion. On our way back from Swarg Ashram, we passed the ashram Baba had visited the day before on his meeting with the saint. As the car stopped, the secretary happened to be in his office. That morning, Baba had instructed Eric to convey a special message to Saint, but he could not meet with him. Even now, the secretary was hesitant to arrange a meeting of anyone with his master, as it was against the doctor's order. With a twinkle in his eye, Baba reminded the secretary that on the previous day he had stated that he regarded Baba as his guru. And Baba added, now here is the opportunity for you to obey your guru's order. Baba had Rich stay at the ashram, and the rest of us, including Baba, left for Shanti Kuti. Rich waited in the ashram for over an hour, but the secretary failed to arrange a meeting with the saint for him. Shortly before 6 o'clock, as an alternative given by Baba, Rich asked the secretary whether it would be possible for him on Rich's behalf to give the Saint Baba's message. The secretary agreed and Rich gave him the message, the gist of which was Baba's work with the saint and the ashramites was done to his satisfaction. Owing to Baba's love for them all, and inasmuch as Baba did not wish to hurt the feelings of anyone, he had decided to omit the names of the saint and the ashram from the discourse, and the message that he had read out in the main hall of the ashram on March 1st. According to Baba's instructions, these were to be printed and mailed to his followers in India and abroad. The secretary went to his master and on his return told Erich that the saint very happily received Baba's message. He also conveyed his loving pranam salutation to Baba and a request for Baba's blessing. Erich happily returned to our residence. The response from the saint pleased Baba. However, the next morning he again sent Erich to the same ashram. He met with the secretary and repeated Baba's message given in the previous evening with the following addition. If the ashram tried to misrepresent Baba's visit to the saint, it would be tantamount to piling dishonesty upon dishonesty. It would be tantamount to piling dishonesty upon dishonesty, and this would be severely dealt with. The secretary told Erich that his master had already informed the ashramites that no more discussions on the subject should continue in the ashram. I have given these details concerning Baba's meeting with the saint to show how exacting he was in his work with his people and with others. On
So
March
I'm
3rd,
I'm just checking, but maybe this is also the same uh, incident that's being talked about.
same
So
incident.
the same incident that, if you remember in the last reading, this is the warning and message given to the people that perpetrated the liquor message, the liquor bottles. So I think this is the same saint, which is Swami Shivananda, which, by the way, is disclosed in Lord Meher but not mentioned here. Anyway, let's continue. I am checking the date to see if it was indeed March 1.
On March 3rd, Baba wanted to visit Haridwar. On the way, the car stopped and Baba contacted an elderly, long-haired person. He was wearing dirty clothes but had exceptional eyes. While visiting different places at Hadza, Baba expressed the wish to stop for a while at a particular secluded spot. At this point, Baba casually noticed that Kishan Singh was all smiles. He asked him what made him so happy. Kishan Singh replied, Baba, once in the early 1940s, I became very desperate to have your darshan, but I could not succeed. So, in a mood of desperation, I wanted to commit suicide, and it was at this very place. Your grace helped me to get over that feeling, and now I am with you here. Isn't it incredible? To me, this is a convincing example of Papa's being with each of us in our moments of crisis, although he may take his own time to reveal his secret. Here, I would like to illustrate this method of Baba's working by quoting Nadine Tolstoy, one of Baba's close disciples. Decades ago, in an article entitled Who is that man? He beautifully described Baba's responses to the need of humanity. He wrote, only an objectively impersonal, completely selfless being like this man, Meher Baba, can have the unparalleled freedom to use all beings and circumstances of life for the inward feeding of the spiritual destiny of man. Sorry. Unparalleled freedom to use all means and circumstances of life for the inward feeding of the spiritual destiny of man. Sorrow or laughter, beauty or ugliness, outward action or stillness, this or that in the dual play of life for him contains no question, no surprise. Everything has its place to fit the universal plan and will of life. His life is a masterpiece in being and acting all the roles of creation. In life and death, that unique being Meher Baba helps life in all its forms of transition and growth. How many times, unknown and invisible, he has stopped the hands of desperate sufferers ready to commit suicide and has turned their whole outlook of life by giving them the light of true understanding. He is evidently one with all life. Footnote 18, Meher Baba Journal, November 1939, page 32-34.
Okay, so it is the same incident. So it is Divine Life Society that Baba took so much pains to go again and wait 1 hour and then again sent Eritz the next morning. So I'm rather curious to see if they actually published the message that Baba gave within their ashram's publications. But yeah, let's continue.
When Kishan Singh completed his narration, Baba looked pleased. He told him to pay 1 rupee to a sadhu sitting nearby, and Baba himself bowed down to the sadhu. The Mandli then recollected that this had also been one of their halting places during the new life. That same afternoon, during Baba's hunt, he walked across a farm with Baidul towards a cottage where another must was staying. When Baba returned to the road, he asked us to go and pay our respects to this God intoxicated soul, but to keep our distance. We saw him standing wearing only a loin cloth, and he was in a delightful mood. The complexion of his body was glowing like heated copper. Baba continued visiting and bowing down to sadhus for a considerable time. It was a busy day, although I don't remember other details. Next day, March 4th, Baba had planned to return to Dehradun after visiting Najibabad. and Muzaffarnagar. I did not accompany Baba in his visit to these two towns, for I had to return to Kurdwadi. I wondered how the last 3 days could have passed so swiftly. I approached Baba to report my departure. It was an unspoken silent farewell. As I stood with folded hands before Baba, I expressed gratitude in my eyes for this unforeseen opportunity that he had blessed me with to be in his divine company. I lowered my head. He flashed a simple glance at me and signaled go. But in that one gesture was his tacit yet complete assurance that wherever I go, Baba will be there too. Still, every time during my moments of parting from Baba, the one thought that prevailed within me was, when shall I be in his company again? I presume most of us felt the same way at the end of our stay with Baba. From Haridwar, I reached Delhi by bus and then continued to Ahmednagar by train, where I stayed for a day with Adi. Apprised him of Baba's meeting with the saint and other details of my stay at Rishikesh. On March 7th, I reached Kurdwadi, 1,000 miles physically away from Baba, but the memories of my moments with him would often revive the feeling of his presence. With the passing years, the Baba incidents of this visit, instead of fading, are becoming more vivid and alive. Even today, the memory of going to the other shore of the Ganges with Baba in a rowboat under the boundless blue gives me a passionate thrill. And sometimes this feeling sets my heart to dancing within me with the compassionate companion Baba, master of infinite steps and rhythms.
Amazing. So let's move to the next chapter, I think. Yes, first Darshan at Dehradun, 1953, part 4.
Can
Okay,
someone
we
take
can
over now?
also, we can also rotate the
Jai
reading.
Baba,
Thank you
can
so
I?
much for reading.
Jai Baba, can I read?
Yes, yes, please.
Okay. Am I audible?
Yes, you are. Jai
Okay,
Baba.
Jai Baba. First Darshan at Dehradun, 1953, Part 4. Bahu comes from a permanent stay. On March 5th, after his short tour of 4 days, Baba returned to Dehradun. Ever since he arrived there in February, Baba had been making plans for his visit to Kashmir. He wanted to be there in April. Sir, where did I start?
What
It's
happened?
so amazing. How am I even reading this
Kashmir.
paragraph? I'm starting again. I'm excited.
Sure.
On March 5th, after his short tour of 4 days, Baba returned to Dehradun. Ever since he arrived there in February, Baba had been making plans for his visit to Kashmir. He wanted to be there in April, the concluding month of fairy free life. Luckily, I was included in the tentative list of those who would accompany Baba on this visit. I was allowed to join him if I could do so without jeopardizing my job and without neglecting my family responsibilities. Soon after my return to Kuru, Kurduwadi, I learned that Baba had indefinitely postponed his Kashmir visit for reasons known only to him. Baba's humor. I
Yeah.
thought I'm going to go to Kashmir with him. You see? On hearing this news, I felt somewhat disappointed. To be frank, apart from the rare privilege of being with Baba, there was also the lurking in me a desire to visit Kashmir, one of the most beautiful places in the world. Earlier, I had felt how compassionate Baba was, that he would be with me while also fulfilling my wish to see Kashmir. One of Baba's ways is to help us build our dreams, and another one is to shatter them with the sole purpose of awakening in us one pointed longing to see him and him alone. As the years have rolled by, there is practically no desire left to visit any place or any country for sightseeing. My present attitude is to take things as they come and to try to remain happy wherever He places me. What should really matter to each of us is to be in tune with Baba's loving and compassionate will. He knows best. Some months earlier, Bahu Kalchari had had Baba's darshan for the first time at Sanoa and later had an audience with him at Nagpur. You want to read the footnote?
Yes. So this was covered in the earlier volume, pages 253 to 255. So yeah, this is Saunir and yeah,
Saunir. Okay.
Saunir.
At At that time, Baba had asked Bahu to complete his studies for his master's degree and then come to see him whenever he might be. What does that
Wherever.
mean?
No, no, wherever,
Wherever,
wherever.
wherever.
You
Okay,
come to
okay.
see him wherever he might.
Wherever he might be. Okay. Accordingly, on March 9th, Bahu arrived at Dehradun. 2 days later, Bahu had an important interview with Baba, one which was to deeply affect the reminder of his life. Given below are excerpts from a diary of Kishan Singh. Kishan was then staying at with the Mandali at Dehradun. Baba, are you prepared on your own responsibility to do as I order you? Bahu, yes, Baba. Baba, I might ask you to go to Bombay or to certain places and work with the lepers on my behalf, or go preaching, or go to Badrinath in Himalayas and sit there, or go begging, or go to work on a tonga as a tongawala, horse carriage driven, earn and bring me the money. In short, will you do whatever I ask you to do? I might, after a few months, tell you to go and stay with your family for some months. I might ask you to do business or attend to worldly affairs. This means you will have to do anything. I say whether you like it or not, but do it because I ask you to do it. If done willingly, then whatever you do will be for me. Whether good or bad, you will be doing it for me. Baba also gave Bahu a discourse in Hindi about the nature of desires, how they are stored in the mind and how they revolt against the mind. At the end of the interview, Baba conveyed to him, now you will live for me. Stay here with the Mandali till the 18th. Join in the meeting which is to be held on March 21st. After the 21st, I will go I will be going to a must tour for 7 days. Possibly, I will take you with those going with me. At the end of the month, I intend giving you special instructions. Bahu Kalchari has been staying with Baba ever since that time as one of the resident Mandali, leading a dedicated life, lovingly and implicitly following Baba's orders. Ordained hour of the age. As Baba had mentioned to Bahu on March 21st, he held a special meeting with his Mandali residing at 107A Rajpur Road. His visit to Kashmir was definitely cancelled. However, during the meeting at Mehrabad in November 1952 and the subsequent darshan tours to Hamirpur and Andhra Pradesh, Baba had hinted that certain happenings would occur by the end of April, the concluding part of his fairy free life. For the benefit of his followers, Baba wished to briefly elucidate some changes made since his earlier statements. In this meeting, Baba told his people that irrespective of whatever might or might not happen, they should be brave and face any situation they encountered. He exhorted them not to feel disheartened in the face of humiliation and apparent utter defeat. The concluding part of Baba's discourse, given on this day, is quoted below. For a disciple, it suffices to obey. Your duty as a disciple is to obey as if you were not your own self, which is indeed literally true when you have completely dedicated yourself to the Master. Never try to match your limited intellect or your reasoning against your Master's will. Spontaneous acceptance by you of anything the master says or does, and your questioning obedience to him will
Unquestioning.
unquestioning obedience to him will safely steer you through any so-called crisis that you may have to face. Okay, can you highlight this? At least we know
Yeah,
what to.
yeah. Very, very beautiful. Very beautiful.
Maybe you can copy and put it on WhatsApp, then we can make a poster out of it.
Sure.
Okay, thank you very much. You are very obedient.
Just this much or the next one, the whole one. Unquestioning obedience है. क्या करेंगे?
और अब तुम्हारा हिंदी भी बहुत फ्लूइड हो रहा है, ज्यादा निकल रहा है. बी ब्रेव.
दिल्ली जो पास है, क्या करें?
हाँ, दिल्ली तो दूर नहीं है अब तो. Be brave. Be brave, therefore, to be honest to yourself, obey the Master, giving willingly whatever he demands of you. Play your parts well, as I too shall play mine, fulfilling all that is ordained for me to by God. Whether I bring about this fulfillment by the end of April or by the end of any other year, it all rests with the will of God. And although it is not for you to concern yourself with what is to come, I will tell you this much, that if it is not at the end of April, then it will be between July 11th. Hello, sir, my birthday. Between July 11th and October 10th of any coming year. At the onset of my fairy free life, I had said that I desired to bring about the climax by the end of April 1953. But to be honest with you all, I must say that as matters stand today, I find that there is a 50% setback in my preordained task. I will, however, with the remaining 50%, tried to precipitate the great movement by working intensively for 21 days, commencing from March 24th. During this period, I will exert myself with concentrated intensity to force the climax as I had planned and repeatedly declared to all my people these past few months. If my work, inshallah, God willing, is accompanied is accomplished to my complete satisfaction, then you will see the end of April bring either an end to all chaos or the beginning of a betterment for the good of all. But if, on the other hand, the desired results are not obtained by the end of April, then take it from me that the opportune moment has not yet arrived, and that you and humanity at large will have to tax your endurance to the utmost and your forbearance a little longer to that ordained hour of the age which will come suddenly and when least expected. I think we must highlight this. This paragraph can keep us going in any circumstance.
Yeah.
It's so encouraging to hear these. When you see the wall and you feel there's no way to go, but he says i- it can still happen.
Yeah.
This is so
Uh,
beautiful. I mean,
Anybody is able to correlate with what Baba is referring to, or I'm trying to see if he's referring to something that will happen.
Yes, this is referring to what like to know.
I feel he's referring to the war at that time.
No,
Is it?
it's 1953.
Oh,
I
okay,
doubt.
sorry.
Yeah,
No,
I
no, okay.
doubt it's the war.
No,
It's yeah, something. I don't know. We'll see.
I don't see it as it is. I see it is more hidden in terms of, the energy shift and those kind of things. I don't see it
Yes,
as an event in history. I see it an event in spiritual growth.
in
I
nature
read
and
it
the
as,
universe. Yeah.
yeah, I see it as that. I don't know, I could be wrong, but
I think if we put the date in there, Lord Meher, we can read few pages here and there, and then we can
And
find
we
what
may
he's referring.
understand, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a period. So he's talking about either April, either July 11th, or and so on. So and it's very general. So I think
When is
I'm
Manonash happened? When is Manonash happened? Anybody remembers? After the
no.
new life, right? New
Yeah,
life
after
ended in
around this time. Around this time, yeah.
yeah, Manonash period.
okay. Can I continue reading?
Yes, please.
But if, on the other hand, the desired results are not obtained by the end of April, then take it from me that the opportune moment, I would like you to highlight this also. Take it
Okay.
from me that the opportune moment has not yet arrived, and that you and humanity at large will have to tax your endurance to the utmost and your forbearance a little longer to this ordained hour of age, which will come suddenly and when least expected. I ask you, therefore, not to be disheartened by my frequent procrastination and not to despair, and I warn you all to be alert and vigilant, ready to meet humiliations and difficulties with faith and confidence in the eternal victory of the divine truth. With the beginning of this fairy
No,
free life,
yeah, it's just life circular number 9. That's where the whole message came from. I'm smiling to myself to see the use of the word by the avatar of procrastination. And then I was just
yeah,
thinking, such a negative word, right? So, but then I was just thinking, I mean, all of us at some point suffer from procrastination. But then I
yeah,
was thinking maybe Baba's procrastination is perfect procrastination because he
yes,
knew when what had to happen. And he also had to create this sense of expectation over and over again for his universal work, where he had to change those dates. So he created an expectation, didn't happen, or it happened later, or it happened earlier, or it didn't get talked about at all. So it was also part of his work, and I'm teased by the fact that he's using the word procrastination. Yeah,
Jai Baba, uh,
yeah.
uh, see, sometimes doing nothing is also uh, is ordained in the, uh, at least in the Buddhist literature, that doing nothing is also some part of spirituality.
Yeah. No, but just so that I'm not misunderstood, it's not a license to procrastinate in our lives. It's still a negative thing. Let's we are not in the position what he is. So let's stick to our plans. Let's keep doing our stuff. And there's
That is
no
true.
license to procrastinate. Yeah. But yeah,
That,
your point about doing nothing is also well
that is true.
received.
But if you go to the Buddhist monasteries and you see that they're just sitting in silence or doing nothing, but they are doing some internal spiritual work.
procrastination is for a task. If you are
Yes.
waiting for something, or you are engaged in meditation, or just just sitting and having a moment, I don't think
That's not
procrastination
procrastination.
is for a particular task. It is not when you just sit and don't do nothing. I mean,
Exactly. So
that's how I feel. Yeah.
no, 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 you're right. So in fact, we'll even look it up.
Okay.
So action of delaying or postponing something. So
Yeah. So
so
which
it's
means you could
basically
be, yeah,
inertia led, and then
yeah,
you're trying to avoid, postpone it, postpone it, postpone it.
yeah,
And all of us at some point face this issue, right? So you want to leave for a place, and then you're just pushing yourself to be, a little later than you would like to, some task that's waiting for getting done, we push it, and so on and so forth. Yeah.
Uh, with the beginning of his fairy free life, Baba began giving darshan to thousands of people, and hundreds of them began to love him and adore him as their master. Beginning with March 1953, Baba would, on occasion, give a message or discourse similar to the one mentioned above. Changes of plans and postponements of events concerning breaking his silence, manifestation, etc., can be regarded as the avataric technique or his enigmatic sense of humor. This was and still is one of Baba's methods to arouse various feelings about the nature of spiritual life latent in our hearts. And as a master psychologist, he in turn helps us to transcend them with a laugh at ourselves. This process leads us to wondrous path, simple and direct, which is love for love's sake alone. It is sort of winnowing which gradually convinces us to love Baba not for any anticipated events or rewards, but only for what he ever is, the eternal beloved.
It's a very, very important way of interpreting the divine procrastination. So it's just to, he uses a beautiful word. So this is where you, winnowing is how you use the wind to sift grain, blow a current of air in order to remove the shaft, right? So the one you do at homes. So he's saying Baba is actually filtering us by using psychology and this anticipation and then change of dates to see who is truly just coming for pure love's sake alone. And those will remain as the grain and the rest are all chaff. So yeah, very interesting.
The Nalawala
Okay.
family, the Nalawala family is drawn closer to Baba. Baba had decided to give darshan to the people of Dehradun on March 23rd, 1953. 2 days before this, the Woman Mandali celebrated New Year's Day according to the Parsi calendar. They said the Nalavara family, Keki, his wife Freni, and their two children, Norshenban and Meherok,
Maharuk.
Maharuk, was invited
So
to spend the day.
incidentally, I've met three of these people. So I've met Frini auntie. She used to live in Bangalore and passed away maybe 3-4 years back. I met Naushirwan, obviously the Glow Naushirwan. Many of you would know him, and the lady Mahruk also lives in Bangalore, and she
She's not a
she she
Baba
was
lover,
here.
right? Maharuk is not a Baba
She's
lover,
not. She's
right?
not. She's not. She's not.
Interesting.
And yeah, another thing close to our group is Ravi's brother. I mean, Ravi's sister, Geeta Aunty, has been the closest companion and supporter and pillar of support right through the last few years of Frenny Aunty in Bangalore, who actually lived by herself. She was a very, very interesting person, full of power and full of love. Very, very nice. I've had multiple opportunities to meet her, and it was great. Okay.
This family had been very closely connected with Baba's visit to Dehradun from the 40s onwards and had helped the Mandali provide facilities to Baba for his work. During the new life, the family was blessed with intimate contact with Meher Baba and his companions. This was a rare privilege, and they responded by wholeheartedly dedicating themselves to Baba. Now, 3 years later, in a most natural way, Baba continued to draw them even closer to him in his love. The son Naushirwan Anzar, author of several books on Baba and consulting editor of the Glow International, a magazine devoted to Baba, was 7 at the time and reminisces. I remember Meher Baba as a playmate, a perfect playmate with whom I played little games so that I would get an additional piece of candy or another embrace. I sat at his dining table and beat my hands on it as if it was a tabla, and as a reward received a morsel of dal and rice from his hands. I played Find the Hidden Finger with him and received a gift of a toy lamb that the woman Mandali had def- deftly crafted. Baba visited 36 Leighton Road, the home of Nalawala family, on several occasions. Once he went to the circus and Norshinvan and his sister Mahrukh went with him to a 3D movie, sharing the fun with them, but at the same time working intensely through the focused attention of the audience. One day, when the family was walking with Baba and the Mandli in the botanical garden, naming different flowers, a devotee of Baba innocently pointed to the border of corn flowers and exclaimed, Baba, look at these cornflakes. Mani, with her ready wit, said, well, then, let's have a breakfast here. And laughed. The time that Nalawala spent in beloved Baba's love and remembrance was golden. Each day unfolded a different facet of his love and compassion. For KK and Freni, Meher Baba was the eternal beloved, while for their children, Mahrukh and Noshirwan, Baba was their playmate, simple, loving, and kind. The entire family united love for Baba and their conviction in his divinity is a blessing to them for the avatar himself. Beloved's wish and lover's desire. In the annals of Dehradun, March 23rd, 1953 will be remembered by Baba families as one of the eventful days when they had an opportunity to have darshan of the enlightened one, Meher Baba. This program was held in Kishan Singh's house, located in quiet residential district north of the main town. Adi, from his office in Ahmednagar, communicated to Baba centers in India that this darshan was exclusively for the people residing in Dehradun and that others should not go there. On March 23rd, Baba saw people for 7 hours from 8 to 11 in the morning and 2 to 6 in the afternoon. People were informed earlier that no personal or family interviews were permitted. In addition, no one was to touch Baba's feet or ask him any questions, worldly or spiritual. In spite of this instruction, some questions were put to Baba on the spur of the moment by the Darshanites, and he good humoredly answered them. Baba did not wish to see people under any open awning in front of the house, but preferred to take his seat in the room, which was both intimate and quiet, so that people could pass before him and not get rooted in one spot for too long. By 7 o'clock in the morning, quite a large crowd had gathered near the house. In response, Baba began giving darshan 15 minutes earlier, and people with folded hands slowly moved towards Baba's room to pay their respects and receive his blessings. Thus, the exchange of love between beloved and his lovers began. One young Baba lover, in spite of Mandali's instructions, tried to touch Baba's feet. He had been anxiously waiting for some years to see Baba in person. So Baba, the compassionate one, allowed the man to touch his feet. That touch stirred the young man's emotions, and he began to sob and weep profusely. Baba patted and comforted him. Though he then went to wait outside, the sound of his sobbing could be heard from time to time. Baba once more called him into the room and gestured, today I want no one to touch my feet. However, out of your deep devotion, you did so. Now let this act of placing your head on my feet be treasured by you by keeping me always in your heart. Love me more and more until you find me in you.
What a special moment.
At the end of this divine counsel, Baba himself touched the feet of his young man, and in addition, he bowed to several Mandali members who were close by. This was perhaps done to counteract the incident of someone having touched his feet against his wish. In one of Baba's short messages, he had stated, "Love burns the lover, devotion burns the beloved." And the happening mentioned above illustrates the difference between love and devotion, between the beloved's wish and the lover's desire. By mentioning this incident, I in no way intend to belittle anyone's devotion to the God man, but I mean to glorify the profundity of love and obedience. A group of well educated and
Karthik, you can just underline that saying, love burns.
You want to take a
Yeah,
break?
very. Yeah, I think yeah, we can also rotate the reading, give Aji a break.
Baba is showering his grace on you, Namita. Love.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. So maybe we rotate the reading. Anybody else who
Yeah,
wants to read?
I can read.
Namita ji, thank you very much. And I'm it's not, I hope it's not abrupt, but yeah, please continue, Ravi ji.
I hope I won't be emotional. Let's see. A group of well educated and religious minded Sikhs were in the darshan room. Baba looked pleased to see them and motioned to them to sit down. Baba asked one of them to repeat his favorite lines of Guru Nanak, beginning with Tunpe Takkar. Nanak was a perfect master who lived from 1469 to 1538 AD and was the founder of Sikhism. On different occasions, in general conversation, Baba would refer to him as Pyare, beloved Nanak. On this day, he exhorted the group of Sikhs to live up to the teachings of Nanak. Then Baba's beautiful fingers began to move gracefully on his alphabet board. He dictated, "If when we grow up, we become like children, childlike, not childish, then we can love God. Because to love God, we have to be desireless, except for the one desire, the one longing, to be united with God. So when we grow up and become childlike, not childish, we can then honestly love God. Then we find God everywhere. Nothing can shake, alter, or stop that perpetual happiness. But we must first be honest seekers of truth. Great masters have taught us to think and act in all humility. Nanak Sahib, who was God personified, acted as Nanak Das. Das literally means a slave. As the short discourses of Meher Baba quoted in this chapter are from Kishan Singh's notes on March 23rd, 1953, publication in the Awakener, Volume 1, Number 2, page 9 to 12. Where am I? As the group rose to take leave, no, I already read that, right? Yeah.
No.
As the group rose to take leave, one of them invited Baba to visit his house. Baba lovingly declined the offer, explaining that if he were to visit one house, there would be no end to visits. A young cadet from the National Defense Academy, a resident of Amaravati, especially came to see Baba because he had missed Baba's darshan in December 1952 when Baba had visited his town. In his youthful enthusiasm, he said, Baba, when are you going to break your silence? With a smile, Baba conveyed, breaking of my silence will coincide with breaking the long awaited silence of God. Sometimes, to those who were unnecessarily concerned about his silence, he stated, if my silence cannot speak, of what avail words? Baba's silence transmitted wordless spiritual truth to those who were receptive to them. If words point at spiritual truth, silence etches them into the heart.
Yeah, I just will underline, I thought.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very profound. Yeah. Householders, a seeker, and an atheist. People from various walks of life had gathered for Baba's darshan, their faces lit with expectancy. They rapidly formed an orderly queue. When they arrived at Baba's room, they felt that his presence was radiating divine energy. To some, this feeling was overpowering, to some, even overwhelming, and tears would flow profusely down their cheeks. Kishan Singh was working in the controller of Defense Accounts Office at the Air Force. Quite a good number of his colleagues came to offer their respects to Baba. Kishan Singh introduced them to his beloved master, and Baba on his own called them to him and gave a short message. We have to be honest in our thoughts and deeds. Only when we become honest can we find God, even whilst attending to our duty. I give you my love. It seems that in one's job or profession, one is apt to be carried away by 101 things in life. But Baba's guideline to all is to be totally honest in our dealings with others and with ourselves in loving remembrance of God. This is indeed a helpful way of keeping company with the omnipresent one, Meher Baba. Then followed a group of college students. They entreated Baba to permit them to sit in his presence for some time, to which Baba consented. As the youngsters were silently sitting, one of them very casually said, Baba, I'm a seeker of God. Baba looked happy and in response to this remark dictated the following stanza. Some seek money, some seek name, some seek power, some seek fame. Some want children, few want God. Life is a joke and all is a game. Baba concluded, whatever you seek wholeheartedly, you get. It is said that when you carry your life in the palm of your hand, you can enter the path of divine love. Although life is a joke, one has to pass through the challenges that are on the path. Here, Baba has differentiated worldly and intellectual seeking, carried on to the mind, from the agonies of the heart to find God. Love is the heart of spirituality. And if a life of love is a joke, it's a fiery joke. It entails agonizing madness wherein the lover consumes himself to see the one who resides in his heart. Before coming to Baba, Umar was a revolutionary, a terrorist in fact. He and his friends, in their noble intention to free India from the British rule, believed more in the efficaciousness of pistols in one's hands than in love in one's heart for God. On this Darshan day, Kumar introduced one of his comrades to Baba as a friend who happened to be an atheist. Addressing this person, Baba dictated, everyone is an atheist till he finds God by actual experience. It is better to be an atheist and be honest in words and deeds than to pose as a lover of God and lead a dishonest life. God is independent. He needs no worship. He only needs that we be honest. In fact, to call someone an atheist, an agnostic, or a lover of God is a superficial labeling. Baba's emphasis is on honest living in response to the deepest prompting of one's heart. And the quest for truth that is within everyone's becomes one's first concern and only refuge. Life cannot help but be an honest expression of what one really feels. And with this process begins real unfoldment, unwinding of oneself from oneself.
So, just before we go to the next section, this is actually a very profound way of looking at it, right? So, we classify people around us, and in general, as atheists or an agnost or a lover of God, or a believer in a believer, right? But I think if in the bigger piece, what Bal Natuji is saying is perfect. This whole thing is such a superficial labeling because there's only one purpose of life, and
Mm,
everybody is eventually going to work towards that purpose. And in our uh, eagerness to classify, if we classify them and label it, and feel very good about it. So I found that to be
mm,
very interesting. So I want to share that.
mm. You know, just a comment on your comment is we say Baba is God, but we don't know really if Baba is God or not. We love him, and we are able to love him because he gave that ability to love him. But what is God, we don't know, and we cannot. We believe what Baba says that he is God. That's all there is to it.
Yeah,
We
Jai
don't know
Baba.
what is Baba.
Jai Baba,
Yeah.
I agree with you because what do we know what is God? But in
Yeah.
Baba's thought and in his prayer or in his readings, we see his presence. There's a joy in our heart. It looks like
Mm,
the intuition says this is the correct place to be in. You feel at home.
mm,
Feel this is it.
yeah.
And that I think is the most common element of all Baba lovers. We all feel that
Yeah.
joy of his existence in the moment we are. And he slowly removes the dust from us. And
Mm,
it's so beautiful. I don't know another God who can transform you, on cellular level, on intellectual level, on every level, that you feel it's okay. It's him. This is a body which is like a rented apartment, and he just guides you through. And then through these little paragraphs, he addresses your um, concerns. He kind of talks to you in certain ways. And then you say, oh my God, he's here. Like Mehra saw Baba's image in the tree. Similarly,
mm,
for us Baba lovers, during the course of the day, whatever state of mind you are, he will make someone say something, and that addresses, and you say, wow. So he's there with us, and that's the joy of being under his fold. And so ever grateful to this group because it's really transformed our lives. Thank you very much. Jai Baba.
mm. Yes.
Jai Baba,
It was
Jai Baba.
beautiful. It was beautiful.
The
Jai
yeah,
Baba.
What we were reading earlier sentences was there is a talk by Rich where he explains that in human love we know a person then fall in love, and whether it's in the spiritual realm we have to love Baba to know him. So it's like that.
Yeah.
It's the other way around. Yeah, Baba.
For people like us who haven't seen Baba, it's always this thing that I wish, I could have
Yeah.
touched his feet. Now, reading this, you almost, he just fulfills that desire too. You feel you're there. And so it's so beautiful. I always look forward to, especially reading this book, because y- you are not an observer. Y- You are part of the whole setup, and that's very, very, very fulfilling, very satisfying. Jai Baba, thank you.
Yeah. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
As people continue to take darshan, one person, in spite of verbal instructions from volunteers, could not restrain a question which was, in fact, far beyond his own understanding. Why did God create the universe? In soft voices, Baba's men expressed their displeasure with this impudent questioning. Baba, however, responded succinctly to this enormous query as follows: who says God has created this universe? God is supreme, independent. When we say He has created this universe, we lower His infinity. He is beyond all this.
A
One
very
of
profound
Baba's ways.
statement. It's a profound
Hmm,
statement in the sense that even limiting God to the creator role is actually even designating the creator role to God is actually limiting his infinity. So very, very interesting. Something to think about.
One of the three
yeah,
aspects is only creation.
Yeah, exactly. No, but then it's also that it's not God is beyond just even this aspect of so-called creation, right? So
Yeah,
that's what
yeah.
Baba seems to be hinting at.
hmm,
It's a small function, a small negligible thing that God does.
yeah, yeah. One of Baba's ways of answering people's questions was to put counter questions to them. This was to awaken in them a quality of open inquiry so they could find the right answers for themselves, depending on the seriousness with which they sought solutions. I think once this thought came to me when they were sitting, Mandali, Baba asked a question: where is God? People answered different things. You are God, you are present, all the other things. God is infinite, God is power, bliss, and everything. And Baba said the correct answer should be, where is he not there? He's uh, is a question up, another question to that question. That means we have to understand God is everywhere, beyond our conception.
Yeah.
One of Baba's ways, to some who requested Baba to enlighten them on love for God, Baba stated, how to love God? How do you love anyone? If a man really falls in love with a beautiful girl, what happens then? No system of principle exists for him. He won't mind being ridiculed. Even if people call him mad, he does not mind. Likewise, one should become lost in longing for possessing God, the beloved. When you are determined in your heart of hearts to gain union with God at the cost of life and the ridicule of the whole world, then perhaps you may be said to have entered the lane of the divine beloved. Addressing another group on the same subject, Baba continued, we have to love God silently and honestly, even in our everyday life. whilst eating, drinking, talking, and doing all other duties. We can still love God continuously without letting anyone know. When God is found, you have no idea what infinite bliss and peace is experienced. I give you my love so that someday you can love God as He ought to be loved. This reminded me of a Krishna Iyer who used to be Baba's night watchman for some years. One time, Baba gave a darshan in Mehrabad, Lower Mehrabad. And in the night, Krishna Nair was the one night watchman. And sometime in the middle of the night, Baba had to go to bathroom, so he went and came back. And he called Krishna. How was the darshan program today? Oh, Baba, he said, Baba, it was very good, beautiful. Uh, and Baba said, after some discussion, there are three kinds of people who came to visit me. One set of people, they came with the desires. Baba, I want this. I want my son to be educated, my daughter to be married. I want my business to flourish. That's one type. And the second type, I forgot what it is, or something connected with some strings attached. But the third type are the one, they just came, took my darshan, bowed down, they thought about me wholeheartedly, and they left. Very few of them. Those third kind of the people I love the most. That's what Baba said. Should not ask anything, you just love him. That's all. With reference to
Wonderful.
those who are intoxicated with their love for God, Baba explained. Lovers of God are called Mard-e Khuda, must of the fifth plane. When one loves God, the only longing is for union with Him. I want to see you, my beloved, is the constant cry of this mad lover. Circumstances do not affect him. People call him mad and may make him suffer untold hardships, but his life's only desire is to see God. Baba concluded that if householders, while discharging their responsibilities, are wholeheartedly remembering God, they are then as great as
Sorry,
Mard-e
sorry.
Khuda. Although such householders do everything, worldly duties, they do nothing. Those who are bound to God are not bound by anything else. Some people in Dehradun had recently read some of Baba's enlightening discourses and inspiring messages. They were keenly looking forward to seeing Baba in person. Naturally, after arriving at Baba's room, they wanted to linger there as long as possible. Baba told them that for want of time and owing to the long queue outside, he could not comply with their request. He, however, graciously conveyed to them, I give my love to you all, and that is what really counts. Love is the only thing worth living for and dying for. My blessings. One family in particular had come in Baba's close contact since his arrival in Dehradun. The head of this family was a simple-hearted person who was often deceived and unnecessarily jeered at by others. Baba granted a short interview to this family, in which he comforted the person with the following message. If people act dishonestly with us, if people create difficulties for us, if people deceive us, and yet we remain honest, we are very fortunate because these deceivers or our so-called enemies are our friends. They wash away our sins and weaknesses and make our path clear towards God. They do not deceive us. They help us and deceive themselves. In one's journey to God, the lover tries only to please the beloved and none else. This attitude is misunderstood by some and they criticize and jeer at the lover. Baba expects his lovers to take such reactions with grace and a spirit of sportsmanship. How nice it would be to roll up the world and his ways, which are overestimated by mind, to unroll the heart's carpet for the imminent arrival of the beloved.
Poetic words. Very nice.
Yeah, yeah.
So, it's good to see a full house. Any other candidates for reading? Otherwise, I may have, Raviji, you can continue. Anybody else wants to read for a bit? We can swap now, or we'll let Raviji continue.
Yeah, let me read, Karthik. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
So I
Thank you,
start from
Raviji, for the reading. And let's, yeah, you can start from interplay, Sanjay ji.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Interplay of seeker and sought. Near Dehradun, there lived a sadhu who used to stay in a temple. One morning, he came for Baba's darshan and quietly sat gazing at Baba's radiant face. He did not speak to anyone the whole time he was in the room. Later, it was learnt that this sadhu slept only 5 hours each night, and that too in a sitting position. He took only one meal a day and was serious about his search for God. He was revered in his locality, and people used to pay their respects to him by placing their heads on his feet. During his meditations, however, he would at times get severe headaches. In the afternoon, he came again and Baba allowed him to sit near his chair. This loving response from Baba emboldened him to ask about his sadhana, system of meditation. After a while, Baba communicated with the sadhu through gestures. Pointing to Irach, he conveyed 2 or 3 times, he, that is Irach, drew my attention that you seek spiritual help from me. So I am giving you 2 instructions. And if you sincerely follow them, God will help you on the path to Him. Don't allow anyone to bow down to you. Instead, you can place your head on anyone's feet if you feel like doing it. Beginning from today, exactly at midnight, 12 o'clock, say only one Parabrahma Paramatma very loudly, only once, sorry. Parabrahma Paramatma very loudly as if God were totally deaf. And after 5 minutes, say Baba. Likewise, very loudly, as though Baba too is completely deaf. This is the best sadhana for you. But remember, it is not easy. If you faithfully observe these 2 instructions, every other sadhana will be contained in them. Start from today and let God feel that you are really earnest about finding Him. As for your sleep or diet, do whatever you like. That has nothing to do with my instructions. However, remember well that even if one person were to place his or her head on your feet, all gains are lost. You only have to follow these instructions for a period of 11 months and then see what God does for you. The sadhu assured Baba that he would do as Baba had directed beginning that very midnight, and he reverently folded his hands to express his gratitude. As he left the room, he looked very blissful and obviously felt blessed as well. At the close of his darshan day, as one of the visitors offered his respects to Baba, he softly said, Baba, what is life? Baba did not appear displeased with this question. He lovingly looked at the person and smiled, then took his alphabet board in his hands and dictated the following response. Life is a mighty joke. He who knows this can hardly be understood by others. He who does not know it finds himself in a state of delusion. He must ponder over this problem, day and night, but will find himself incapable of knowing it. Why? People take life seriously and God lightly, whereas
Must take God.
must take God seriously and life lightly. Then, finally, we know that we always were the same and will ever remain the same, the originator of this joke. This knowledge is not achieved by reasoning, but it is the knowledge of experience. This reminds me of a couplet of Shams Tabriz, where he writes, O seeker of God, you are God, you are God. He is not out of you. You are Him, you are Him. Life is a joke, a perfect joke. Okay.
Try your Persian.
आनंद के तब गरे खुदायद बिरून से शमी नेस्त शुमैद
Khudaid. I think maybe it's Khudaid, Shumaid.
खुदायद.
Maybe,
Yeah, yeah.
maybe. I don't know.
Yes, it is. It's
Yeah.
really pronounced. Life is a joke, a perfect joke in the sense that the seeker and the sought are continually trying to find each other. In response to one of the letters addressed to him, Meher Baba replied, Do you know why it is impossible to find God? It is because you are trying to find something which is never lost. What is needed is that you lose yourself and God is imminent. Tama's favorite quote.
Yeah, exactly.
If Baba's words really dawned on anyone, his seeking would take on an altogether different dimension. Then instead of seeking God, the omnipresent one, such as individual would try to witness how God, through his incredible and infinite ways, is searching for his self in the seeker. To be an earnest seeker is to experience how, through each of our activities, sought Baba, the ancient one, impatiently beckons everyone to come to him. The certainty that his foremost concern is to is reveal himself in us and through us, then becomes our greatest strength. It is grounded in our utter helplessness and the conviction that God alone is the doer. Although one may not have transcended one's limitations, still, with the above conviction, the seeker begins to nest in the presence of the sought in a relaxed state. Now the game really gets going in an astounding fashion, becomes a reciprocal interplay of love and longing between the sought and the seeker. It culminates when the seeker gets himself totally lost in the sought, and then, for him, all seeking is forever over. Darshan period was coming to a close. Baba had been seeing people continually for a period of 7 hours. As each visitor, man, woman, or child, passed by him, with one hand Baba gave all the prasad of his love. Simultaneously, he would raise his other hand to his forehead in salutations, a great, graceful way of returning the homage given to him. Perhaps he was saluting the divinity in each one, irrespective of age, caste, creed, or occupation. On another occasion, he had conveyed Baba blesses, Baba salutes. Exactly at 6 o'clock in the evening, he left the room and darshan, a gracious and evident dispensation of Baba's compassion, was over for that day.
Ah,
Should I continue?
yeah.
Sitting naked on a snow-bound peak, Baba's darshan offered peace and solace to many, and many a heart was delighted. For some, Baba's loving touch subsequently inflamed their hearts with a longing to love him more and more, so much so that before leaving Dehradun, Baba agreed to give another darshan in November 1953. The March darshan happened to coincide with the Navami, which according to the Hindu almanac was birthday of ancient one as Rama. Some families who met Baba on this day accepted him as Rama come again. A few days after the darshan program, a young erudite sannyasi came requesting an interview with Baba. He had been a professor of English at one of the colleges in Uttar Pradesh, but had left his profession in quest of truth. As he was a sincere seeker, Baba made an exception in his case, and he was ushered into Baba's presence. He bowed down to pay his respect, which Baba did not object to. In answer to a question, he related that he had heard of Meher Baba during his stay at Uttar Kashi in the Himalayan region and felt that he felt drawn to visit Dehradun to meet the perfect master. He also added that he had resolved to leave the world for good and to lead a life under Baba's spiritual guidance. Baba mentioned that there was many gurus and teachers in and around the Dehradun and Rishikesh area and asked him what had made him come to him. His simple reply was, because I feel that you are the one who can lead me to the goal. Baba gestured that many came to him seeking gains of various sorts, relief from physical ailments and financial difficulties, a good job, or a suitable partner in life, a wife or husband, and so on. But he was very happy that the professor had come solely for spiritual guidance. Baba continued, you want to stay with me, but that is not easy. This needs great daring, and above all, those who stay with me have to obey me implicitly. The sannyasi promptly replied, I am ready to obey you. Baba, however, asked him to sit outside the room for about 15 minutes to reconsider his decision and then inform him about it. The man went out and Baba continued his conversation with the Mandali about his day-to-day work. About a short time, After a short time, the person came back and announced, Baba, my decision to obey you remains unchanged. Yeah. Baba looked serious and stated, remember one thing carefully. It is easier to sit naked on a snow mountain peak of the Himalayas than to live with me and obey me implicitly. The sannyasi responded, Baba, I do understand and honor the implications of your statement. Baba continued, then listen attentively. There are three orders that I want you to follow. For the present, go back and stay wherever you want to, but without fail, come to see me exactly after 1 month. During this month, read books and messages dictated by me, and in addition, those that are about me. This reading will give you an idea about some of my ways and the nature of the life lived near me. For this period, don't touch any woman. Will you be able to observe faithfully these three instructions? Roll up. Yeah. The sannyasi said, Yes, Baba. Baba looked happy to hear his reply and gestured. One more thing. When you come after a month, come alone. Don't bring anyone else with you. The sannyasi gladly agreed and left the room. Owing to its pertinence, I intend to narrate the entire episode now, although it actually occurred over a 3 months period.
Yeah, I think that's the end of that sitting naked in the Himalayas section. So I think we will stop at this point. Avtar Meher Baba ki jai.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba, everybody.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. Jai Baba.
You know, this thing about he telling that read my books and you will understand the ways, isn't that what he's done to us as well?
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
As I told
Yeah.
you, he keeps on communicating with us throughout.
And he's specifically doing exactly what we are doing, which is read my messages and books, and also
Yes.
read books about me.
Yeah, and then he says why you should do, and then it's exactly what is our feeling as well, right?
Correct. Correct.
Jai Baba.
I was
Jai
reminded
Baba.
of something. If you have
Jai
2
Baba.
minutes. Hello.
Yeah, please go ahead, Sunilji.
I was reminded 1953 tour, which Baba planned to Srinagar, which was cancelled eventually. My grandfather, I used to call him Pitaji, was preparing for that trip. And that's the time when my father told him that who is this Meher Baba, the Pope of Rome or something? You have to prepare such a grand thing for him. We are poor people, we don't have enough money, things like that. So that's when Baba asked, Baba, after that trip got cancelled, Baba instructed Pitaji to send my father down to Dehradun. It's all around this time
Oh,
that
wow.
we're reading.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. So
And
there you
Kishan
go.
Singh was the person who actually ferried my father. I can't remember from Delhi station. My memory says Delhi station, but I find it hard that he came all the way to Delhi to pick him up while Baba was in Dehradun. But maybe if Baba instructed, then he would have done it. I'm not sure. So that was just a short memory.
You know, my father-in-law Sunil Dad would always tell us about Baba, and with great pride he would say, "Then I told my father, Pitaji, who is he? Is he a Pope of Rome?" उनको बड़ा मजा आता था. And then how he had completely changed and surrendered in his love, from that thought to complete submission is another story of like every Baba lover in that sense, honestly. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. So it
Jai
was
Baba. Jai
appropriate
Baba.
that you read that section.
Yeah, and that was
Yeah.
also
Baba.
Baba destined.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. And
Thanks.
with that,
Thank
let's wrap up
you.
our session today. See you all tomorrow. Avtar Meher Baba
Jai
ki
Baba
jai.
ki
Meher
jai.
Baba ki
Jai
jai.
Have a great Saturday.
Jai
Star Meher Baba ki
Meher Baba ki jai.